Greetings everyone. Welcome to a Guild Wars 2 episode. Random content, I know. But hey, I am in a zone called the Heart of the Mists. Now, the Heart of the Mists is actually the center for PvP action. This is the leaping point where you get into other PvP stuff. I'm not going over PvP right now. I'm actually going to be going over some of my PvE stuff, but this is the best way to show it to you. So I have a build that I've been using with my engineer. My engineer is this is my wonderful engineer. This is the horrible outfit that I've got, or the equipment that I've got, and this is the clever little outfit that I had it behind. I love this thing. It's called the Jungle Explorer outfit, but you can just re-dye it. Latte. What is that? Let's do this by hue. The only way I can find anything. Pottery, and I have sand. Ta-da! Anyway, let's just put that back to normal. So, I have my gear, alright, and my weapons. I've been using dual pistols lately because of the flexibility they afford you, but do not be mistaken. The engineer is all about options. The engineer is all about having multiple things at your fingertips, right? Basically having as many options and capabilities at your fingertips as possible. That's the whole thing about engineer. Flexibility. So I use pistols now, but I do have a shield for my offhand to replace one of the pistols, like that. And I do have, of course, a rifle. So, let's get that offhand equipped. I have been running on a certain build lately since they did the big patch on Tuesday of this past week. This patch changed a lot of stuff about game mechanics, and I went over a lot of it in a previous video. The big thing is that conditions used to cap at 25. You'd see a little count for the number of stacks of something, of an effect you would have on that actual target. Some would max out at 5, some would max out at 25. Well, now there's no cap on almost all of them. So, like, okay, you'll see this damage 236 bleeding for 5¼ seconds. That bleeding means specifically that I will put a dot. It's a damage over time effect on them that ticks down. You'll see poison, blindness and confusion, burning. Oh gosh, this does immobilizations. I've got all of this stuff that puts all these different effects. Like these do vulnerability plus something else. Bleeding, blindness, chilled, poison. The list goes on and on. Anyway, I've been dealing with a very explosive heavy build. Now, I'm going to let you know right now, the new system, a lot of people are still figuring out. Nobody really has a solid, this is going to be the universal win build, unless there is a broken power. In my particular build, there is a power that is currently broken. It's broken in a good way, a beneficial way. It's overpowered. That is good coffee. So, what you end up with is basically, well, I'll demonstrate it, but Grenadier, Grenadier, the engineer ability right here that governs the grenade kit, lets me throw grenades. It is hideously overpowered. I'll explain why later. But I've been rocking explosives, firearms, and inventions. There is also tools and alchemy. I haven't really been messing with them a lot, though. So let's go over this bit by bit, right? I've got all three of these mastered. You have... you create a bomb when you dodge, so when I'm in combat and I flip or evade an attack, I'll leave a bomb behind. Does a little bit of extra damage, and it inflicts vulnerability on the target. It can actually hit up to 5 targets within a very small radius. Now, normally, there's Grenadier, which increases the blast range for grenades, and it makes them fly faster. Now, there's another hidden perk on this. It means the grenades pierce. I'll explain why later. Explain what that is. A lot of times, though, I've actually been using glass cannon. As long as I'm above 90% health, and it gives you a number right there. As long as I'm above 14,330, I get an extra 5% damage increase across the board. every single weapon that I use. For this instance, I'm going to be showing you Grenadier, though. The other great part about this build is that you can flip it down to Explosive Descent, which basically halves your fall damage. That means you can fall about twice as far before you really have to worry. And it drops a barrage of grenades, which means that in PvP, you can actually jump off of buildings onto people, or even on monsters in PvE, and actually surprise ambush them with a grenade barrage. It's actually very cool. Explosives cause vulnerability. This is very important. Aim-assisted rocket, I've been doing this, but I've also been using this, shaped charge. Anything that's got vulnerability, yeah. Anything that's got vulnerability, you get 5% extra damage. Even one stack of vulnerability, they start taking extra damage, as you can see. And this boosts all my damage as well. This is good, however, but it only is a 33% chance, and it can only fire once every 10 seconds. This is across the board, everything. Flat improvement. Yeah. Explosive powder. So turrets. I don't mess with turrets a lot, but I do always run the healing turret. The healing turret nets a lot of aggro from monsters, especially at big events. What that means is that we can detonate this. Cleansing burst. I don't know why. It's got 2 stats on there. That's interesting. Which does it say over here? Yeah, don't know what. Anyway, I always do rock the healing turret. It's super useful, and you have an ability when you put it down. It pops up here. That is detonate turret. It'll get a lot of aggro because of all the healing it does. When the monsters close in and start attacking it, detonate the turret. It shoots them back and does a lot of extra damage. That boosts that damage even more by 10%. Then there's siege rounds. This dictates the mortar weapon. I will also use this quite often. Explosions have a chance to cripple and cause bleeding. This is very useful when soloing because of that cripple. Even if it's a 15% chance, you'll see how many explosions we're going to be throwing out and how often that can kick off. Now, firearms. Critical hits have a chance to cause bleeding. This is very important. It's a 1 in 3, and it puts a whole bunch of bleeding on there. Now, we also have vulnerability from this, right? Increased duration on my pistol skills. The effects that they have last twice as long. Well, 50% longer. You have a chance to critically strike against bleeding foes, so your chance to critical strike goes up when they start bleeding. So this starts self-perpetuating. Both of these feed each other. You gain condition damage based upon your precision. Now, you could also use, if you're not using pistols, but rifles. You could swap to this one down here. The one I've never really used is no scope because they have to be very close range. I always either use as a rifle, skilled marksman, or pistols. I do pinpoint distribution. Even with a rifle, this is useful specifically because condition damage is based upon is how much damage your conditions do when you put them on somebody. Your poison, the more condition damage stat you have, the more damage it does per tick. And the more stacks it has on the target, the more damage it does per tick. So, bleeding you cause lasts longer, 33% longer. Again, self-feeding. Then we have you gain 2% additional damage for each condition type. That means bleeding, burning, poison, vulnerability. If we do crippled, anything else like confusion and blindness, those count. There's poison, there's bleeding, there's burning, immobilization and crippling. All of that counts. It all adds up. So then down here we actually have inventions, okay? Cleansing synergy. When you use a healing skill, which is specifically this skill right here, every time I put down a turret, it fires off a blast that removes a condition on everybody around you. Radius 300, no maximum targets, which means you can pull one condition off of every single person every time you put down your turret and every time you fire the ability for your turret. That's useful. All heal skills recharge when you hit 25% health or lower. This is important. This means all of a sudden when you're low on health, if you had just put your turret down and it was just killed, this will tick over and you can put it back down. This healing skill will take over. This healing skill will take over, etc., etc. All of them will. Now, this is one that I change based upon situation. Mecha legs. Movement speed is increased. Crippled, chill, and immobilization durations decreased. That's very useful. Yeah, in general, condition duration reduction 33%. Sometimes I will swap it up to this, soothing detonation, but that's very situational. I'll explain that later. Energy amplifier. Your healing power is increased when you have regen, which means when I put down my turret and it gives me regen constantly, my healing power goes up and all of my other healing capabilities get magnified. It's not by a lot, but everything helps. And then there's bunker down. Now, bunker down is best demonstrated, but basically, every time I get a critical hit, once every 2 seconds, it will drop a first aid kit and a mine, a proximity mine. Both these things last about 10 seconds. So, we've got... These people are... I'm going to come over to this light armored target. No, I'm not. Okay. So here we go. We actually have a medium golem, or a heavy golem, whatever. Every time I critical hit, I drop a proximity mine and a first aid kit. Anybody can step on these things and use them. Anybody can walk across them. And you'll see that bleed damage is going up higher and higher and higher. Now, so every time that I actually get a critical hit, a mine gets dropped. That mine will do an extra vulnerability damage, a vulnerability debuff, and a blast for about 400 damage. Plus, a bandage that anybody can pick up. 500 healing, and then another 500 plus healing power bonus from regen over 4 seconds. So that'll heal for about 1,000 points over 4 seconds. Easy peasy. It's great. I end up leaving them all over the battlefield. So, the way this all works, though, I wish this person would make up their mind. Okay. So, normally I would actually be using my pistol in any given fight. My pistol actually has a lot of good skills on it. Bleeding, poison. This does blindness and confusion, bounces around to several targets. Burning. The closer you are, the more damage it does. Glue shot, crippling, which means they can't move. They get slowed down, as you can see right there. But basically, you go into grenades, and you can see there's bleeding on the actual target. If I go over here to the heavy ones, these have higher armor ratings and more hit points. I can actually start off with my normal weapon, and you'll see they get more and more status effects that get put on them. Throw a grenade barrage, and suddenly it's dead. The more status effects, the more damage you're doing compound per second, and the more damage you're doing per hit because of the conditions. It's a bonus situation. It really is cool. I really do love this build. Now, to make things even crazier, I've actually slotted very specific runes in my armor. I have runes of the crate, which feed my condition damage stat. They make all bleeding damage I do last longer. And if you notice right here on number 6, when you're using your elite skill, you inflict bleeding, torment, and poison for 8 seconds to all nearby foes with a 30-second cooldown. So basically, all I have to do is walk up to this guy, swap to my weapon, and suddenly he's got poison, bleeding, and torment. Plus, I can start firing off other effects and inflicting all kinds of nasty damage. You see? It's a very capable situation. Now, let's go over here real quick. I leave behind a trail of first aid kits that other friends, other party members can actually pick up. And those things are very useful in a fight. You'll find your friends probably quite appreciative once they figure out that if you're not picking those up, they can. It is a very, very Dodge Roll Trainer 2000. Okay, I'm not going to get near that thing. Let's go over here. Real quick. This is where the robots are. More target robots. We've got moving targets that we can actually inflict. You see? Torment is a poison that does more damage if they're moving. If he was standing still, he wouldn't be taking as much damage. But that is doing a considerable amount of damage for just a set of poisons because I swapped weapons. So now, here's where things get a little crazy, okay? I'm going to zoom way up and out. This is where stuff's broken. Grenades. Because of the Grenadier stat, that's this one right here, okay? It's supposed to increase the blast radius. That circle's a little bigger. Here's the trick, though. You see all of those criticals? All I'm doing is throwing grenades, and that is spawning critical damage. It's spawning burning damage. I can toss this out and do frost and chill them to slow them down. Poison. But all I'm doing is tossing out 3 grenades, and it's piercing multiple targets along the trajectory. It's also critical hitting on those and spawning all my other conditions. This is one button. This is the number 1 ability. I'm not even throwing any other specials out there. This is hideously and hilariously broken. Throw a barrage out. And you'll see just waves of this damage going out. I can maximize and do just absurd amounts of bleed damage and tick damage. It's very, very broken. So, normally I actually, and you see all this bleed is still going. Multiple targets still taking damage well after I've stopped throwing grenades. If I did one volley like that, you'll see there's some of them that are taking 475. There's one that's taking 1400, 900, and he's dead. Still ticking down. If I run in here and swap over to my mortar, I poison those guys with the weapon swap, and they start taking even more damage. Couple of grenade volleys. And it just goes crazy to crazier. You'll see these waves. Because of how my crits work, I can put poison, vulnerability, or not poison, bleeding, vulnerability, and burning, and immobilization, or crippling on them. And all of that just makes the grenades do more damage. It makes the crit rate higher, which makes it apply more, and more, and more. It's just absurd. So yeah, this is why Grenadier is broken. I would say use it while you can, specifically in PvP or PvE, because it's just devastating. But I guarantee you this, either this weekend or early next week, this is going to get fixed. Either the piercing is going to get taken away or the criticals are going to get taken away on the piercing. One of the two. I expect they'll take away piercing. I don't think they would, or maybe they'll take away criticals on the piercing, so you can still get pierces, but pierces won't inflict as much extra damage because of the critical hits. A crit hit, bleeding. I've got crit hit, bleeding, and cripple up here. I've got, oh gosh. Yeah, see, right here, I can do a damage increase per condition, or I can swap this over. Burning you apply lasts longer, and your critical hits inflict burning. I can't swap while I'm in combat, but you see the point. This is actually the build that I've been using in PvE quite a bit. this week. Now, I have not been using Grenadier. Let's go. Can I actually port? Nope. I'm in combat still. Alas, alack. There we go. I just popped out of combat. Okay. I have been using previously flat damage increase for all of my weapons from glass cannon. This is bugged. I expect it's going to normalize by next week, and this will not be quite as sensational and amazing. But the rest of this build holds true, okay? Because of all of the conditions, plus all the status effects that I can actually put on things, I have a flamethrower at my disposal, which means burning. Lots of burning. You'll see that burning count go up. Stuff dies real quick. And the crits are also putting bleeding. Now I've got my elixir gun, which can actually put vulnerability on a target, which means they take extra damage. That bleeding count is going higher and higher and higher. Plus, if I want to, I could poison them and even put even more vulnerabilities. I have my grenade kit. And that heavy golem is dead. Plus, I actually have my mortar kit, which means that I have long-range capabilities. There's that target. You'll see he's got bleeding. We can put cripple on him. And he's dead. And I didn't even have to get within range. That is one of the longest range attack methods that you can actually inflict on some poor unsuspecting person. Power them down before they even get in range. If they do get in range, I leave a trail of proximity mines so I can retreat, or I can advance and pick up first aid kits as I need them. It's a very, very good all-around build that I've been having a lot of fun with. I think I'm out of combat now. Hooray! Let's go back to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Okay. Gonna go over here. Let's go back to the real world. Lion's Arch. This is the new remodeled Lion's Arch. I'll make a video on this later. Come on, Lion's Arch. Now, let's go somewhere where I can find a target nice and quick. How about Malcor's Leap, level 75 to 80 zone. Lots of undead there. I'm going to find an average target, the kind I've been dealing with on a regular basis. And basically, I don't know what the heck that is. Wow. Okay. Let's go this way. Tar Elemental. First of all, if I wanted to, fire some long-range artillery. Once it gets within range, grenade barrage. Switch to grenades, and it's dead. And it barely got a chance to get an attack off on me. I've got 2 healing packs right here. Both of these first aid kits in level 80 will actually drop, where is it? Yep, about 1,000 hit points. Easy. Nice and quick. So it's a very self-sufficient build. I have a lot of capabilities. I can use the flamethrower for great bursts at short to medium range. I can use the medium to long range for with the pistols. Well, the pistols are good at all ranges. Medium to long range for the elixir gun. I've got the grenades for short to medium, even long range. And I've got extended long range with the mortar. The mortar is really a grenade launcher in the grand scheme of things, but whatever. I don't know where all the bad guys are. I would like one bad guy, please. There we go, a risen bull. Let's see. Get some height on things. I'm going to open up with a grenade barrage. I'm going to put just past him. And finish him off with a pistol. Very quick, very easy. Nice. A risen chicken. I hate those things. They're wusses. So it's okay. Okay. And as you can see, I picked up one of my own packs there. Ooh, Risen Drake. Here we go. I'm going to switch. And you see, I finished him off right there just with poison damage. That wasn't even the effect from me trying to switch to my mortar. He died before I got a chance to do that. That is a 30-second cooldown, by the way, but it is a great blast, kind of last resort. You're surrounded, and you need another quick burst of damage. Get closer down to ground level here real quick. Ow. What attacked me? Something did. Risen chickens explode. That's why I hate these things. Oh, hi.
My energy is diminished.
A couple of grenades. And conditions do most of the work for me. Let's wheel out, get my mortar here. There we go. Wait a minute. Where are you going, dude? Come here. Wait, come back. I'm going to back up and handle that risen arm from range. But lots of capabilities. I really do love this build. It served me well over the last week. I've been soloing content with it a lot, and I feel very capable. If I need a damage burst, I can swap over to Grenadier. I can swap over to grenades. I do actually have Grenadier picked right now, but like I said, a lot of the times I've been using this. You notice targets with more vulnerability. Shrapnel right here. Even though that's a low 15% chance, it still helps. I have survived only by the skin of my teeth, only because a boss got crippled by this at the very last minute and barely got close enough to me to hit me. It's actually a very, very useful thing. Now, this I'm divided upon. A lot of times, I think this extra burst in damage is useful, but burning does a lot of damage very, very quickly. I have been leaving it on this for the time being, though, and I felt very capable. That's one of the things I like about this build. There's a lot of flexibility. You could actually use glass cannon or Grenadier. All sorts of stuff. Anyway, I'm hoping you guys really get a charge out of this. I hope you like it, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.